Welcome to Evangelical-ish, where we discuss the good, the bad, and the ugly of the American evangelical church, deconstruction, faith, and God's love through it all. Join us for these episodes live on our Evangelical-ish YouTube page on Wednesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 Central, and 6 o'clock Pacific. Let's journey together. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Evangelical-ish. You saw Paul just on the screen there for a minute, but I was talking, so...
Oops.
It's fun times.
Operator error.
Yes. So hello, we're so glad we're here. I love that there's always comments just ready to go before we even come on the air. It's awesome. You should write in the chat, tell us where you're listening or watching from tonight. And hello, I am April.
I'm Paul.
And I'm Jeremy.
And please forgive the fact that you cannot see Jeremy. And that
Jeremy, where's Jeremy?
The short version is I went to go surprise my wife, who's working about 90 minutes out of Oklahoma City. She's doing travel nursing during the pandemic, and she had a late birthday gift come in the mail. So I went to go surprise her and take it to her, and then we had some traffic issues on the way back into the 405, and so it put me back about 30 minutes, and so now you get Jeremy, who's audio only right now. But I'm almost back to the layer. So
you're Jeremy, that pastor somewhere in Oklahoma.
Somewhere in Oklahoma.
That's right. Not the normal shiplap background that makes every evangelical church super happy when they see that, and then they get fooled because they're like, he had the shiplap. We thought his theology was good, but he's a heretic.
Oh yeah, they hate it when they like your stuff and then find out you're a heretic. So disappointing. We've got people from all over tonight. We've got Maryland and Michigan and Chicago and Texas, and I like Antifa Portland. That's what
Antifa
said.
Portland.
New
Wow.
Hampshire, Pennsylvania, Minnesota, Louisville, and Orlando, Tennessee, and California. With the three of us.
There's a Georgian in there, and
St. Louis.
And we have to say congratulations because the Braves are. Although I don't know if you can be woke and be happy about this, but that's okay, April. I'm not going to say anything, but the Braves are.
You can cheer for the team, the Braves, and find the tomahawk chant problematic.
Love
which
the
I
team,
do.
hate the chant.
Love the team. Okay, that makes it sound worse.
That's pretty good. That's really good.
Love the team, hate the chant. No, in all seriousness, they really should change that. I'm kind of surprised they haven't. Even while they were doing it during the games, I was like, this just isn't setting right. We also got another one from Tennessee, a sad Texan. Go Braves. Yes, the Braves won the World Series. Our house is very happy, but tired. We were up very late last night. We broke the Atlanta curse. Yes, Virginia, Mississippi. I'm so glad you guys are all here.
Yeah,
and
New Hampshire. Yeah, it's cool.
It is cool. I wonder if we will ever have anyone from out of the country. But anyway, we do talk about the American evangelical church.
We've had somebody from Australia a couple of times. They've messaged me on TikTok. So yeah.
And we have people from Texas. So
yeah.
That's another country, right?
They're their own thing these days.
And they're proud of it. Damn it.
Oh my gosh.
Super proud.
So proud. I mean, I am a Texan, so I was born and raised in Texas, and I can confirm it's a little bit culty how proud they are of Texas. There's like
little bit
patriotic pride with America, but just as much, if not more, Texas pride. So, anyway, speaking of Texas, this is a great segue.
Good segue.
So yesterday, hundreds of people gathered at the scene where JFK was assassinated back in 1963, awaiting the return of JFK Jr. to come back and announce his presidential run with Trump in 2024 to reinstate him as the true and rightful 19th president, because, and I kid you not, they believe that
the 19th
president, because everything that has happened, according to these Qanon conspiracies, everything that has happened in our country since 1871 has been completely illegal and illegitimate, making Trump only the 19th president. I'm a little confused on how Trump was legit, but You guys, I took a deep dive into this conspiracy. These people legit thought JFK Jr. was coming back, but not just him. They also thought other celebrities were coming back. Like, so they don't think that these people actually died, that they've all gone in hiding as some of like big conspiracy to take down this cabal of child trafficking, blood drinking. I mean, I guess Democrats, but it's
what other celeb? Who else?
The only one that's actually alive is Tupac. The rest of them are dead.
You know, Tupac is not in these conspiracies that I've seen. Ironically,
you're gonna
because
have to imagine my
QAnon
shocked
would not want Tupac to be a.
You know what QAnon does want though? They did mention Michael Jackson and Kobe Bryant.
Yeah, his. Yeah,
Michael Jackson's an odd one for them to be like,
Well,
yeah, we want him with us,
Gates,
especially fighting like child trafficking. It seems a little.
Him and Matt Gaetz would make really good friends, is what I hear. So,
ooh. Yeah, there's that too. One lady claimed that they saw Robin Williams, but they couldn't confirm because he was wearing a mask. So anyway, so here's this conspiracy, right? So
Okay.
JFK Jr. is going to come back and reinstate Trump as president somehow. Trump will win in 2024 as president. JFK Jr. will be his VP, but Trump, being the noble man he is going to resign, let JFK Jr. become president, and then he is going to appoint Michael Flynn to be his vice president.
What?
I don't know why, but so they also believe that the Kennedy family, so JFK's family, are descendants of Jesus Christ. So that's why they're like part of this thing.
Wait. Okay, there's something missing in that story.
Yeah.
Unless they cloned Jesus, by the evangelical Bible, he wasn't married and didn't have coitus with anybody.
Maybe the descendants of Mary, Joseph. I don't know. I'm just reading. Listen, I cannot explain these things. I'm just regurgitating the deep dive that I read today. So JFK Jr. will become president. Michael Flynn will become vice president, and Trump will become one of the 7 kings, most likely the King of Kings, that is mentioned in Revelation 17. So there's a lot of biblical end time stuff where Trump ends up being the King of Kings somehow. So
the King of Kings.
It literally that's was what it said. So I'm trying to think. Yeah. So anyway, so they believed that
something is missing from that story.
There are so many things that are missing. You guys, I'm not making this stuff up. These people actually believe this, which we laugh, but it's also like terrifying because there were hundreds of people that came from all over the country to be here because they thought at 12:29 p.m. was when John F. Kennedy Jr. was going to come out and be like, guys, I'm here. You're right. I've been hiding all of this time and fighting off the evil cabal and the child traffickers of the world. And so 12:29 comes, and I was reading a Rolling Stone article that was like someone who was there and detailing it. It said the only thing that happened at 12:29 was that they all recited the Pledge of Allegiance. And so throughout the afternoon, when JFK Jr. did not appear, surprise.
Wait, he didn't?
No, he didn't.
Shocking.
Big letdown for a lot of them. But they were not deterred. They said, oh, no worries. He's actually going to be coming to a Rolling Stones concert later this evening. That was in Dallas, apparently. But he did not come to that either. So one of the ladies at the end, I guess they interviewed, like, well, what are you going to do about this? Like, he didn't come. Does that hurt your belief? Like, how do you recover? And this lady said, oh, I got a screenshot. I'm just going to quote her because it's just better that way. She said, well, do you have faith in our God or not? I know I do. And part of faith is continuing to have it even when you can't see. No matter what, I think the majority of us know that something is happening. We can feel it. So.
Okay, it's scary that they're there. Okay, it really scary. But what is... I mean, I hardly even know what to say, but that JFK Jr. doesn't show, and that doesn't throw them at all. They wouldn't stood out at Dealey Plaza. He didn't appear, and that doesn't even ding their faith for a second.
they've moved the goalpost again, which they've been doing. I mean, Trump was supposed to be reinstated as the 19th president back in August, according to Michael Lindell. And that didn't happen. And so I don't know what the new goalpost is now. They said something, some other date that I don't even know, but how
this is almost like, I mean, it's just so insane. Like we have to talk about it. Like we
Right.
have to talk about it, but it's almost like not worth talking about, because all you can basically say is these people are nuts. Like they're just crazy. Like,
Yeah, what else do you say?
They're not a few fries short of a Happy Meal. They just got an empty box. Like that's it. Like there's no fries, no burger, no cookies. There's nothing in that Happy Meal. They forgot the toy, everything else. It's absolutely insane to me that this is happening. And then also, like, why these random dates that they're just pulling out of the sky? Here we are in November, and they could have easily made it the day that JFK, you know, like on the
his anniversary,
JFK's assassination later this month, but then they just pick November 2nd just out of the sky.
Someone said they thought it might have just been a typo, like they meant to say November 22nd, but then said November 2nd instead.
That's gotta be it. Yeah, somebody
Siri got it wrong.
Off a 2. Yes.
Well, and sorry, Paul. I was going to say QAnon apparently had 3 more drops today. And I mean, HBO did a documentary on QAnon several months ago. I think we probably talked about it.
Yeah.
Where Q like basically outed himself. And it's this creepy guy living in the basement in Taiwan that just like runs porn message boards.
Yep.
And he's like a creeper. But like that didn't deter anybody either. Sorry, Paul, what were you going to say?
The sad thing is, again, I know these people. Like I know people that are deep into QAnon that are not stupid people. They're not the stereotypical, you know, Jordan Klepper interviews. They're really smart people that have been swept into this stuff. And it is, I really am struggling to talk right, because I just can't believe that it ever got to a place where people would show up at Dealey Plaza and say JFK Jr., who flew his plane tragically into the ocean 22 years ago, is going to show up and be the next president, you know, by showing up at Dealey Plaza. And normal, smart American Christian human beings believe it. And when it doesn't happen, that doesn't deter the belief at all. It's crazy.
And are they aware that the Kennedys were Democrats?
I don't think so.
like did they miss that part that John F. Kennedy was a progressive?
Yeah, I don't know if they believe in a party
switch. And JFK Jr. once spoke at the Democratic National Convention as well, and would someday run for office as a Democrat.
It doesn't make any sense. But here's the thing, though. Not everyone who's QAnon are Republicans, or at least lifelong Republicans. Because I remember watching the documentary, and there were a couple in there that were big Obama voters that got swept up into the conspiracy of Q. And it's less a political thing for them as a, like, quote unquote, right or wrong thing. And then that the current Democrats are evil, child eating or blood drinking people. It doesn't make sense. Honestly, saying it out loud, it's just kind of like, I mean, I'm with you guys. What can you even say? How did we get here? But I think most of the people out there were Christians, connecting this to some kind of end times Bible verse. And if you watch Midnight Mass, which I have referenced before, it just like, it's a perfect illustration of how you can find a Bible verse to justify just about anything, which is why it's so, like, really the Bible is a dangerous book because it can be weaponized, which it has been pretty much in the entire history of its existence, because it's not that clear on a lot of stuff. It says to love your neighbor, but it also says a lot of really scary stuff that people use and twist to somehow Trump's supposed to be the king of kings. Like, and I've seen so many people, I don't know if you guys have seen this, that it says when the trumpet sounds, and Christ's return and all that, that the Trump.
Oh,
Trump, Pence, Trump, Bet. I cannot tell you how many people. No, like people literally have made that connection.
Amazing.
oh, it's incredible. I've seen the Patriots won the Super Bowl. Therefore, God is saying the Patriots are going to win a super presidential election. I mean, it's just amazing the leaps we can make with this stuff.
Yeah, no, it's really insane.
It truly is, though. In times teaching, which we've been doing for decades, telling people this worldwide government is going to take over, first, go after Israel, take over the world. There's going to be, false teachers. As I was kind of thinking back on my year in TikTok today, how many times have I been called a false teacher? And anybody who disagrees with what you believe is a false teacher. Don't be deceived. And then add in this right-wing media echo chamber that's getting ever crazier, that now even Fox News is an outlier to the QAnon people. It actually becomes pretty easy to manipulate people who live in that echo chamber.
Well, I, up until recently, believed in the rapture, that literally at any moment, however many Christians are in the world, what is that, like a tenth of the world is just going to disappear and go up into the sky, and we're going to leave a pile of folded clothes behind because that was in some random obscure rapture movie. And then that those that are going to be left behind are going to have to go underground and make all these like hidden TV shows and hack systems so that the Mark of the Beast people can't find you, and then prepare myself to get my head chopped off when I refuse the Mark of the Beast, because I'd rather get my head chopped off than spend an eternity in hell with eternal flames burning me from the inside out. I believed that.
So premillennial rapture theology is QAnon. I mean, it literally is a QAnon conspiracy.
Yes.
I mean, if you can believe in the rapture, you can believe in QAnon. It's not that far off.
No, not at all. It's right there.
Newsflash, the rapture isn't in the Bible. Just so you know.
I know the word rapture is, that should be another topic. Anyway, so on a little bit of a lighter note before we move on, the next segment of this fun. So
wait, can I just say one more time? There were fucking people in Dealey Plaza waiting for JFK Jr. show. I still can't believe those words are coming out of my mouth.
Hundreds of people. It wasn't like a trickle. It was hundreds of people like high-fiving each other and being like, yeah, JFK Jr.'s are coming. We knew it. The storm is here.
Doesn't one of you get raptured each show?
That's true.
Yeah.
Yes, right. Yeah, Ryan. One of us does get raptured each show. For sure.
Also, I noticed a comment earlier and I didn't say anything about it. It was really funny because somebody mentioned earlier, I forget who it was, said, Jeremy just got a bad haircut and he doesn't want to show his face. I literally did get my haircut today. I was like, oh, and then I got self-conscious. I was like, I really hope it's not a bad haircut.
What if that was the case? That would have been so sad if you read that. You're like, they know.
Don't look at
Let's
me.
see
Don't,
it. Oh, there it is.
Yeah, there it
looks sharp. Look at the little fade.
Yeah.
I see that.
Yeah. No, I felt pretty good. The girl that does my hair is awesome. She's amazing.
Feels good.
All right, April, I interrupted you.
No, you're fine. So I don't know if you guys have been getting lots of these comments. I know I have on my more political stuff. Let's go, Brandon. I get those comments a lot.
You just said a swear word.
I know, pretty much. But honestly, I kind of like it better than the usual trash that the Trump supporters leave. Yeah, because it
feels really stupid to me. Like
it does feel stupid, but it's so stupid that I'm like, eh. Here's the thing. They think it's some inside joke, like the rest of the world doesn't get it. Like we all get it. We know where it came from. It's the joke that won't die. It's not funny anymore.
Yeah.
And what was her name? Lauren Boebert. Is that her name?
Boebert. Yeah.
Boebert.
Yep.
She wore a Let's Go Brandon mask, I think, like on the House floor or to some political thing. I've seen a lot of Christians on Facebook also post Let's Go Brandon. And if you're unfamiliar with what that means, there's plenty of articles on it. But basically, at a NASCAR race, a reporter was interviewing some NASCAR racer named Brandon something. I don't follow NASCAR. I don't know. And the stadium was chanting F Joe Biden, but they didn't say F. And the reporter thought, oh, they're saying let's go Brandon, because with a large crowd, it kind of sounded like let's go Brandon. So now they think it's funny. So they can say F Joe Biden without saying F Joe Biden. They just say let's go Brandon. They're all like, yeah, let's go Brandon. Yeah, we're so funny. So anyway, but and
Yeah,
also,
they think
how
they're
ridiculous
hilarious.
is it that there's a group of people, and it wasn't just at NASCAR, it's happened at several different sporting events, just large crowds at a sporting event that has nothing to do with politics start chanting F Joe Biden. What?
Because
Why?
because these people, these I gotta be careful here. I honestly believe that this has turned into just ridiculous idolatry, and it, you know, the wedge of division has driven so deep in our country that people actually think stuff like that is funny. There was a day, and I'm one of these people that says, like, I don't know if I would ever pin a point in American history where I would say we were great, right?
Right.
Because I think there's a lot of black eyes throughout the history of America. But what I will say is that there was a time when I felt like there was more respect given to whoever the commander in chief was, and that there was appreciation just for the office, but that the office was also at most of the time held by distinguished or at least decent individuals. Okay. Not always the case, but you know, a lot of times. It has devolved because of Trump and because of his cult followers. And so people think that kind of stuff is, number one, acceptable and funny. And, you know, I just think it's absolute trash. It's absolute garbage. And it's not like, it's so stupid. Like it just doesn't even make sense.
Like what's the goal in that? Just like, why? Just to be trolls? There was I don't know if y'all saw, there was a Southwest pilot who said, let's go Brandon over the intercom on a flight. And like Todd Starnes and a bunch of conservative people are like, it's persecution. He didn't say anything wrong. It's let's go Brandon. There's nothing wrong with that phrase.
We all know what it means. I mean, you literally, as a public pilot in a plane full of people, insulted the president of the United States.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You should lose your job.
I like what Emily said. She says she loves questioning people who say, let's go Brandon, because they're all afraid to say the F word out loud. Yeah, that's what I want to do. Like, just comment on these Christians like, oh my God, like just play dumb. Who's Brandon? Like, what does that mean? And just watch them squirm because they don't want to actually say it. I'm like, if you're going to say it, then you better own it.
It's interesting how this has been coming along, though. Ted Cruz tweeted it. I remember when the Tea Party started growing in popular, my wife was still in elected office then, and we were sort of mystified and going, okay, those people are nuts, but they're this crazy fringe. Through a whole series of circumstances, long story short, we ended up getting to meet Sarah Palin after the 2008 election. Bummer. And we found Sarah Palin to be nice, but how do I say this kindly? Like, not the most brilliant scholar you've ever met in your life. Like, not the most intelligent human being in the world. And we thought that would be kind of a stumbling block for the Christian people that we were with sort of at this event. And that was the first time I remember thinking, wait a second, they like her because she's not smart. That actually is attractive to this audience. They like her lack of intelligence and her silly snarkiness out of her lack of intelligence. That was really a light bulb moment. And now even more looking back, we Christian right-wingers disdain intelligence. Like we don't like smart people. And we do love somebody like Sarah Palin who, you know, can talk and present, and she has all of those skills, but is not bright. We like them because they're not bright.
Well, but go ahead, April.
I was going to say, Trump even said early on in his running back in like 2016 that he loves the uneducated. And I think it's just for that very reason, because they're easily manipulated. I feel like uneducated, but also just evangelicals are easily manipulated because they're easily bought, because it's all about power and their religion. And I do,
Right.
and like, there's good people in the evangelical church. And I
Sure.
made a video recently because I said I had referenced that, people always say I'm brainwashed now that I'm a liberal. Like the liberal media brainwashed me out of my entire childhood way of thinking
Right.
into the last few years. So I just made a video saying like, okay, no, like I was in the evangelical church for the first 32 years of my life. I've gone to Christian schools, Christian colleges, like did my whole list of working for CBN, being worship leader, all that stuff until I was 32. And that they think in the last year and a half when I was home during the pandemic, that was what brainwashed me, not the lifelong first 32 years. And I think there's a lot of people out there too that maybe that haven't grown up in the church that can be really dismissive or just not understand, like I get comments like, well, did you not have a brain? Like, why couldn't you have just like thought your way out of it? And I think if you're not in it, it's hard to see how indoctrination works. And you're in groupthink and you're in echo chambers. And when everyone around you, including your parents and your grandparents and your family and your churches and your friends, are saying this one thing, and you're shielded from outside influence or told that this outside influence is demonic or evil. And like I was constantly on my guard for when Satan was going to send that friend into my life to like get me off the wrong path. And it's like, it's just the mind games that you are constantly playing. And of course, I had questions growing up. There were things that did not make sense to me. But when you have those questions, they're either easily dismissed and put in a black and white, like, oh, well, that's just satanic. Like, you just don't have enough faith. It's just, you're just not giving the room to express doubts. And after a while, you just kind of stop asking the questions because there's never any answers and you don't want to lose your entire community.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that last sentence is the punchline for sure, is that I think you get afraid of losing your community. You get afraid of losing the people around you that, what was it? And we've alluded to this before, I think, on this show, when Rachel Held Evans talked about, when she and her husband left the church.
Yeah.
Who's
going to bring me casseroles?
Who's going to bring us casseroles when someone dies?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And there's that feeling, but there's also this new thing that's happened, and something that I've reflected on a lot today, especially looking back on, the past year on TikTok and the community that all three of us get an incredible opportunity to be a part of and get to speak with regularly, is that, there is a new way to do community with people from all over the world. Mm-hmm. And I feel loved and valued and safe here. It's a beautiful thing. And so, what I would say to people who are Christians, who are afraid to leave their church and find a new faith community or explore what faith means to them, whatever your journey looks like, but they're afraid of losing that community. My encouragement is lean into these amazing communities that are happening and starting around you, because I honestly believe revival, and the thing that, the evangelical church prayed for so long, it's happening.
Yeah. You're jumping into our next segment. You know that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sorry.
Well, and I just want to clarify too. I think a lot of people get hung up on the word brainwash, like it's something evil that's done to you. And I don't think, I think indoctrinating is probably a better word. But the thing is, I don't fault the people that told me to believe these certain things, because they generally believed it. They were just, they were just repeating the same things that were taught to them. So it's this vicious cycle. If you don't break the cycle and get out of it, if I hadn't broken out of it, I probably would have been regurgitating it to my kids, because it's just all I knew. So I don't think it's like an evil thing. I do think people mean really well, because they really believe it. And when you really believe that there's a literal like fire and flames, eternal conscious torment, that all your friends are going there and that their blood's going to be on your hands if you don't save them when you interact with them, like that's just that's hell on earth. That's a terrible existence to constantly be like just that anxious about every interaction that you have.
So let me jump in and let's hit this in the next segment, because that's our next segment of what does faith in the midst of all this wackiness look like now. We'll do it next on Evangelicalish.
Are you loving Evangelicalish? Follow us to catch all the latest content and encouragement. You can check us out on TikTok by following @Evangelicalish, or subscribe on YouTube by searching Evangelicalish. That's evangelical with an ISH. And don't forget to catch our live streams each and every single Wednesday night on YouTube at 9 Eastern, 8 Central, and 6 Pacific. And now, back to the Evangelicalish podcast.
Somehow I've got to figure out why I say evangelical and everybody else says evangelical, but that's a whole nother thing. But
is that an age thing or a
I don't know,
California thing?
That an age thing? That's mean.
Is that mean? I didn't read it. I just know, like, I think, like, I don't know, like people older than me, I've heard say evangelical. I think I did hear someone my age say evangelical one time, but most people say.
I just feel like Paul has like a really sophisticated.
Yeah, it does sound more sophisticated.
That's it.
Yes,
to his
I'm
speech.
sorry, Paul. I should not have said the age thing. You're our age. I take it back.
I am originally from Arkansas, raised in Oklahoma, like MR ducks. You know what I mean? Like you're not going to get a lot of smart things out of my mouth. So it's evangelical because that's just how it looks.
I grew up in southern Missouri, and that thing with 4 legs that walks around my house used to be a dog, not a dog. So I grew up with people that talked like that. And not to digress, say that there's a 6-string instrument that you play with a pick. A guitar.
Well, how do you say it, April?
Guitar.
Yeah, I say guitar.
Guitar. No, it's a guitar.
Is that not right?
Guitar.
Everybody always makes fun of me for that word. Guitar, and then like where you go watch a movie.
A theater.
A movie,
theater.
What?
Theater. A theater.
What do you call it?
Theater.
You say theater? Who are you?
Theater.
Theater. I'm gonna go down to the theater.
Listen. You can take the boy out of Arkansas, but you can't take the Arkansas out of the boy.
I grew up with people that said guitar and wash, like go wash your hands.
I don't put R's in random spots.
The president lives in Washington, D.C. Yeah.
Washington.
My husband tells a story. He first moved to like Hickville, Georgia, from the city, and he was on the basketball team, and he was subbing in, and he was asking the guy he was subbing in for, like, what defense are we in? And the guy was like, Mayan. And Beatrice like, I don't know Mayan. We haven't been over Mayan. Like, what are you saying? And he goes, our defense is Mayan. And Beatrice like, I don't know what that is. And he goes, Mayan to Mayan. And Beatrice like, oh my gosh, are you saying man to man?
Yeah.
So.
And what's really sad is as soon as you said that, I was like, oh yeah, I know what that one is.
You knew I was saying man already. I was speaking language.
Yeah, no, that like, oh.
One of the things I get asked a lot is questions along the lines of, can I still pray? If I'm in this deconstruction space, I've left my church, can I still have interaction with God? Can I still do the things I used to do? Can I still listen to worship music? And we've talked about this some, but we were talking about maybe just sharing a little bit of where we are on this journey. What does faith look like now? Because, I think we're all at a different space on this journey. And what does it look like? What does God look like? And I want to start this by saying, I think we all get to be wherever we are in this thing. And that's part of the beauty of it. I don't have to force anybody to agree with my beliefs anymore, which is the best part of my life these days. No more apologetics. I don't have to convince anybody I'm right and they're wrong. But sometimes I think it's important, and some people come just to hear us sharing of our journey, to know, what does faith look like? What's the possibilities of what it's looked like? So in this segment, we're just going to share a little bit of where we are. What does the faith journey look like going forward, and even interaction between ourselves and heaven, God, the divine, the universe? Jeremy, what does it look like for you now?
Yeah. So I think for me, it's still very true that I came to a very real place where I realized that the people who were running the establishment, the American evangelical church, and specifically the white American evangelical church, were speaking for God, and I was assuming that they had that voice. And so for me, walking through that journey was to step back and go, all of this is garbage. None of it matches the Bible. What in the world? Like, is it all just junk? And I remember having a very real moment in prayer when I really felt like God had spoke to me and said, they don't speak for me, you know? And so I think for me, if I talk about deconstruction or whatever word, that different folks want to use on their process and on their journey, when I talk about that, I honestly think that it's not, I still love Jesus as much as I ever have, more than I ever have. It's pushing back against the establishment that has the name of Jesus and defamed who he is and defamed the love that he brought to the world and calls us to do as well. Grace, forgiveness, mercy, compassion, all of those things. And so, for me, walking in this season is loving Jesus as much as I ever have, but finding him in ways that are so much more relevant in my daily life, and seeing him in ways that I never saw him before. And there's just a lot of freedom in that.
Yeah.
And you're gathering people online on Sundays to kind of give that communal space.
Yeah. And I think that was probably the most interesting thing that started happening on TikTok as I had a chance to begin sharing my journey with others. Right. And we began, in community together. It was, wow, we just all want a safe space where we can still say we love Jesus. We love the team of Jesus. We love the idea of loving each other well, loving God well, loving ourselves well. But we want to do that in a way that matches the things that we see in the Bible. It's not that we got tired of faith. It's that we got tired of fake. And this garbage that the American evangelical church had created to cash money in the offering plate and to manipulate and control people. And so it's just a very real pursuit of Jesus. And that feels authentic to me. And so, we meet, we have an opportunity to meet twice on Sundays. I offer an earlier time, like 10 a.m. Central. Folks can tune in on YouTube. And then we do a later evening one for other folks who, don't want to be up that early, or West Coast folks that's like 8 a.m., but we do at 8:30 p.m. Central as well. And then we do a Wednesday night, just Q&A time right after Evangelicalish is over. And we do that here on YouTube as well. And so it's been really good. It's been really authentic. We've built an amazing community. We have a Discord and a Facebook group, and I've got a text line set up for that. And just getting to build like genuine relationships with people who are like, you know what, I don't have it all figured out. And they're all in different places. I mean, my favorite thing, and I'm up after this, sorry, you guys, just like, this is something that's so exciting to me. My favorite thing is one of us who I have known since middle school. Her and her husband are both atheists, and they are the most involved in our faith community. She runs my Discord server. She edits my podcasts and does all of that stuff. And it's because she was like, I don't believe some of the things you believe, but I believe in the love that you believe in. And
that's good.
Everybody's welcome there. And is that not what it's supposed to be? And so it feels very real. It feels very genuine. It feels very safe. And it just it just is like the thing that that my soul has longed for.
And I'm sure you have links to that in your bio on TikTok and YouTube and all that.
Yeah. And it's not an infomercial for sure. I appreciate you asking, Paul. Thank you. That's authentic.
Absolutely. And people are asking in there. So no reason not to let people know where to find it.
So just find me. The best place to catch us it's just That Pastor from Oklahoma on YouTube, youtube.com/That Pastor from Oklahoma. And we're live, like I said, twice on Sundays. It's the same thing on Sundays. The conversations do kind of end up different. It's challenged me as a preacher because like I'm preaching, but I'm also doing live time feedback, which is kind of cool. And so I preach the same text twice, but it ends up being two entirely different things on Sundays.
Oh, wow.
And so there's folks who come to both because they're like, it's the same thing, but it's different. And then Wednesday nights is just like a Q&A, open discussion, and we have a really good time. So, but yeah, it's just That Pastor from Oklahoma here on YouTube, and it's called the Speakeasy Project.
Ooh, nice.
Love that.
Yeah,
Cool.
and so you can either be a part of the lounge on Sunday morning, or you can be a part of Nightcap on Sunday night, and Wednesday nights is last call.
And Paul, you still have
when
your
is the
Sunday meeting.
hangover?
The hangover.
Monday morning.
Late night.
That's right. I preach 3 times on Sunday now because I'm preaching in person as well at a small church here in the Oklahoma City area. So yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Monday's
That's
usually
funny.
Paul, Ken asked in the comments, what about Paul's thing? Y'all, we're still meeting. I haven't been in a few weeks, but it's still going, right?
Yeah, ours is called the Sunday Community. And we meet at 10 a.m. Pacific time. So we work, so you can like go all day long with all of these different things we're offering. But yeah, ours just started out of some people saying, hey, could we do communion together online? And the next thing we knew, everybody's like, can we do that again? And yeah, so ours is, and I do just a little bit of teaching sometimes, but mostly it's just sharing life and discussion around the idea of people who have faith or looking at what faith is, and everybody's welcome. So that's, yeah, you can go to online church all day long on Sunday. April, where are you in this journey? What does it look like for you?
Yeah.
Well, I still pray. We pray with our girls every night. I think it's good for them to think of other people before going to bed and to be, to say thank you and be grateful for things that we're doing. For me, I struggle with the idea of prayer as a like magic genie of, if I pray hard enough, God's going to answer this prayer.
Yeah.
If I have enough faith, God will answer this prayer. I've just seen too much inconsistency with that. And the people that have had their prayers answered, too much room to be able to just explain it. I don't know if I've know of like any major healings that didn't involve some kind of medical intervention, but they give, they say God answered their prayer anyway. And since my dad died of cancer from that's hard for me to read when I see people like giving God sole credit for healings and stuff. So I don't know that I believe it's a magic genie. I don't believe it's a magic genie. I do know that. But I do believe in the divine, and for me, like his name is Jesus, because that's how I've always communicated with the divine, and that's how I have spiritual moments, I guess, because I have had some spiritual encounters in my life that I can't explain, and I'm not talking about like altar call, manipulation, and all of that stuff, but like I've had genuine encounters that I can't explain. So I totally believe in Jesus, but I think I'm leaning towards more of like believing in a universal Christ. To me, the idea that if I were born in the Middle East and was raised Muslim, that I would just be doomed forever because I never heard Jesus or like wasn't following Jesus. Like I totally could see Jesus appearing to someone calling him Allah. Like the divine, I think, appears to us as we know them. So anyway, but there was something that, but at the same time, I do believe in the spiritual realm and that miracles can happen. I just don't know how much. I don't think we have control over that, regardless of what Bethel says. But there was a cool moment that happened to me. We went to church. We actually went to church. It was a Church of God denomination.
To a building.
To a building, yes.
Yeah.
We went to a building a couple weeks ago because a friend who was like out of a favor to a friend. Whatever. And so, yeah, so we went. And
you don't have to apologize for going to church.
Yeah, there is nothing.
No, I know,
wrong
but
with
it like took convincing, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Because it was a very evangelical, conservative type church, but had heard good things that they aren't as like they're not Trumpy, they're not, that's a good thing. But the sermon was about grace and just how much God loves us despite all of our sin, and that God can forgive us of no matter what we've done, which was fine. It wasn't anything like super problematic, but it was the first time I've ever sat in a service like that and didn't feel shame. Because in the past, if a pastor talked about grace, all the grace that God gives us for our sins, my brain would automatically be going to try to remember the sins that I had committed in that day or in the last week, what I hadn't asked forgiveness for, and like almost like trying to make myself feel so dirty so that I could be so grateful for this grace. And it was the first time that I realized I am thankful that God gives me grace, because Lord knows I've needed it in the past, but I didn't feel guilty and I didn't feel shame. And I think that's the biggest thing of my faith journey right now is I'm just not aware of sin. Like sin just isn't in my vocabulary because I try to be a good person and I try to love people the way that Jesus taught us to love. And I think I just think that's enough. And I believe that God made us all in his image, and he's not going to make us these dirty, disgusting beings from the get-go. Like, I don't know. It was a really nice feeling to sit there and like, I was just at peace. And I think sorry, I'll let you go, Jeremy, but I think that's just the peace that I feel. Like, I think this is freedom in Christ. We were taught our whole lives, like, if you do this, that's freedom. That's freedom in Christ. But that freedom came with chains of going to a building every week, of making sure that you were, checking all the boxes, reading your Bible every day. Like, it was chains. And the real freedom in Christ is letting go of the frickin' religion and just being and trying to be the best version of myself that God made me to be.
Yeah. Well, and I was going to encourage you. I was going to say, I think when I look at the scriptures, that's what it was designed to be, right? Was this freedom of, this separation from all the things that we held on our shoulders and on our backs for so long. For Christ has set us free. And I think we're supposed to live in that grace and that goodness. And so that's beautiful. What you're saying is so beautiful. I just wanted to encourage that for sure.
Thanks. So that's kind of where I am. And I think I'm too at the point where I never want to be like, oh, this is exactly what I believe. And just like stick my flagpole in the ground, because I did that before for the first 32 years of my life. And it took a lot to pull it back out. So I'm like, I'm just gonna, I'm just gonna throw the flag down. I don't need to wave any flags. I'm just gonna exist.
Yeah. Ask me in 2 years, I'll believe something totally different.
Yeah, I know. I think that's the beauty part of it, is being okay with not knowing. And it's like, yeah, that's totally fine. I don't have to know. I'm not in a rush to know everything. So Paul, what about you? Where are you at?
It's really fascinating. All of that. I love hearing where you guys are. I look at the story of Peter and the animals coming down from heaven, and God or Jesus or whomever you think is having the conversation with Peter in that story, saying, eat those animals. And Peter saying, hell no, Lord, I'll never violate my scripture. I'll never violate my religious beliefs. And 3 times they have this discussion. And finally God says, hey, Peter, don't call anything unclean that I call clean. And what I see in that story is God, as defined in the Christian Bible or the Jewish Bible, the Old Testament, saying to Peter, I don't care what your interpretation of scripture is. I want you to love people. And I want you to go to the house of that Gentile and stop calling them less than, in my eyes, than you are, because they're not. And in some ways, Peter, and then we see in Acts 15, Peter and James and Paul and Barnabas and all these guys get together at this Jerusalem counseling. And basically what they're saying is like, okay, the rules we've known are gone. What do we do now? And they wrestle it through together. Well, I don't know. I've seen the Holy Spirit on Gentiles. So all I can say is the Holy Spirit is on them. So how can we say they're not us? You know, and I really feel like that's where we are today. Like, okay, the rules that we've known are gone. All of that evangelical bullshit is over. Now, what does relationship of faith look like? And how can we do it so we don't end up with the newest set of rules? Now, here's the new set of rules we have together.
Yeah, because the church has done that over and over, right? Like every so often.
I think we're just drawn naturally to it. Give me the rules so I know what I'm dealing with. And I really think what I'm believing is like, what if there are no rules? And the rules are, you have to interact in a way with each other that's going to bring out the best in each other. And the only way to do that is to be self-sacrificial to yourself and hope that that brings out a self-sacrificial life in others. And if all of you are living self-sacrificially, as the story of Jesus demonstrates, then this thing can work. This thing of life and humanity can work. And that means when somebody attacks you, you're not going to attack back. I mean, like the first shall be last. All of these things were turned on their head by Jesus. And so that's a long way of saying, now where I am, I'm like, okay, God is not this old man with a beard sitting on a throne judging me from somewhere out there. He's not just itching to throw me into the lake of fire if it wasn't for Jesus standing between me and him going, no, God, no, 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 no. And so God is something of a being, you know, so I love it because I take it hard from my fundamentalist evangelical friends, and I take it hard from my fundamentalist atheist friends who are like, there is no God. And I'm like, but just like April said so well, and I won't go too much for that, is like, I've seen too much to know there's not something supernatural in the world. So God is not this human-like being that we've anthropomorphized for our own purposes, but God is something of this spirit of goodness that the story of Jesus, again, which I also see God through the prism of that story of Jesus, is we can interact with the spirit of heaven and we can bring that goodness of the divine to earth and advance it as the kingdom of heaven on earth. And that's what I want to do. I want to say, how do I access that supernatural out there and bring it to earth and walk it so people see it coming through me? And it's so attractive. They're like, I want some of that too.
Yeah.
And none of it is about my rules or my thoughts or my religion. And I love it so much, but it is, and I'll finish with this. I'm sorry to keep going on, but my wife every once in a while is like, but that thing of being able to pray and say, God, protect our children was such a comfort blanket. You know, it was, how do I manage life now to not have that? And we're just trying to figure out what that looks like. And so somehow it is like, I can connect my spirit to yours, and we all connect our spirit to whatever this goodness is that's in heaven that we can bring to earth. And somehow that brings peace. Yeah. And I think even sometimes miraculous stuff into the present. And I don't want to lose that. So I'm just on that search of what that looks like. And I'm saying, hey, who else has the rules out there? Let's go chase this together.
It's good.
One thing I thought about this the other night is it's a perspective shift where I feel like when I was in the evangelical church, my goal was to be a good Christian. And sometimes that made me a bad human.
Oh, and man.
Now I'm just trying to be a good human. And by default, I'm a better Christian.
Imagine that.
Wow.
Bang. That'll preach.
All right. Good night, everybody. April
that was it. Yeah. What a way to end the season.
So good.
No, that's good. I think that's the thought to end the segment on too. That's solid.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys. I'm going to go drop my mic, but not really because it's expensive.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that. People who are obsessed with mic drops have never priced microphones.
We'll celebrate our anniversary next. Oops, go.
Are you loving evangelical-ish? Follow us to catch all the latest content and encouragement. You can check us out on TikTok by following at evangelical-ish or subscribe on YouTube by searching evangelical-ish. That's evangelical with an ISH. And don't forget to catch our live streams each and every single Wednesday night on YouTube at 9 Eastern, 8 Central, and 6 Pacific. And now, back to the Evangelical-ish podcast.
Yes, indeed. It is the Evangelical-ish podcast. Glad you guys are with us. We love you so much.
April got raptured.
Yeah, that's okay. It happens. We all get raptured occasionally.
She really did mic drop, didn't she?
She did. She was like, I'm done.
I'm out of here.
Said what I need to say. And she did it so well. So, if that is indeed the last thing she leaves with, then it was wonderful.
It was like, to bring in baseball into this again, because that's what we do. My man Buster Posey announced his retirement today as the Giants catcher. Yeah, so sad. My son was like, that's my whole sports life right there coming to an end. He was pretty emotional about it. And I think that's what Buster Posey must be saying. Hey, I had a really good year. Great things happened. Time to step away and go do something else. So April, she retired after on a high note there, just like Buster Posey.
Yeah, it was so good. But it has been. There she is.
Oh, there she is.
We have cell phone April. All right. Did your computer decide?
Can y'all hear me?
Doing updates? Yes,
we can hear you. Can you hear us? She can't hear us.
Oh wait. Okay. I don't know why my computer. Can y'all hear me?
Yes. We can hear you. Yes.
I think I'll get my headphones though, because the audio is not bad. Ignore me. Sorry. Let me mute.
I'm going to take you off the stream and you wave when you come back. All right, Jeremy, go.
Well, I was just going to say, it has been a pretty crazy journey with this whole community and evangelical-ish and just the amazing things that have happened and just the opportunities we've had to connect with so many awesome people. I was thinking about that, reflecting on those things this past week. Today is the 1-year anniversary of the 2020 election, which also means that it was the 1-year anniversary of the first video I did on TikTok that started. There's April. He's back.
Can you hear us now, April?
Yes, I can hear you. My computer decided to do a software update right in the middle of the show. I got no warning or anything.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
So no, all good.
I got raptured. Someone mentioned earlier, one of us always gets raptured.
Yeah,
it was me today.
We definitely made sure and said that too. But it has been 1 year since I posted that TikTok video, and Paul, I know you've yesterday was my
1 year anniversary of deciding to come to TikTok. Oh my gosh. April's like the Shekinah glory has come or something.
Am I on fire? Oh, is it bright? I can't.
You look like a green screen.
Green screen.
Oh, that's weird. It shows it's normal on mine. Is it still green?
Yeah.
You're not there, just green. That's all we see.
Is it better now?
No.
Oh my gosh, I'm so mad. I'm so sorry. This is so embarrassing.
At least you went out on a big note, though, April, with the mic drop.
Well, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Yes.
Okay, I'll try to fix with this camera. Okay, just ignore me.
Okay. Keep going. Yes, it was a year ago last night that I told my wife, I'm done with Facebook. People on Facebook are idiots. I'm going to go to TikTok and see if I can't find a more receptive audience to what I have to share.
Yeah. And so I downloaded TikTok. It was pandemic. I was working from home. I just needed some humor in my life. And then so I just up April. Beat you. No. But
there she is.
There you are.
I'm back. Okay.
All right.
And so anyway, I posted a video about kind of showing up to my very conservative polling place in my 4x4 pickup as a white Oklahoma pastor in my 4x4 pickup, and that the joke was that I did not.
Do you want me to show it?
Vote for Trump. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, let's show it.
This was it. The first Jeremy TikTok video.
Hi, I'm from Oklahoma. I'm a pastor from Oklahoma. I'm a pastor from Oklahoma who drives a 4x4 pickup. I'm a pastor from Oklahoma who drives a 4x4 pickup, and I'm registered Republican. And I just voted for Joe Biden.
That's a classic.
Didn't the original one have that you carry a gun too or something?
Yep.
That's the one that I saw. That was my first introduction to you.
Yeah, that one got taken down for community guidelines.
Of course.
Whoops.
It is what it is. But yeah, so that was the first one, and I will lay out the disclaimer. I am no longer registered Republican, but in this past year, from that time when we all sort of kind of got connected around the around our frustration with the evangelical church and Trumpism and all of those things, and we just kind of began talking, and we were all kind of TikTok babies at the time. We just started to really have a really great opportunity to share a common heart and share common space. And, would have never thought that we would be where we are now with, tens of thousands of followers and, folks that are just like family to us, and you guys are like family to me for sure. And it's been absolutely incredible. And so, anyway, I can't believe that it has been a year, like, because it feels like it's been a lot longer, and sometimes it feels like it's only been like a couple of days. And so it's been amazing.
We were TikTok babies then, so in TikTok years we're like 75 now.
Yeah, no, we're the old heads. We're the old heads for sure.
We're
like
the OGs.
We see, yeah, we're the OGs. Like I see some people start popping up in different places on, different niches or niches on TikTok, if you want to say that word. And I'm like, oh, I remember those days back when I thought the world was my oyster, and like you get jaded on TikTok like you do everything else, I think.
Yeah.
I think in Arkansas it's niches. Right.
No, it's a niche. No, it's a niche.
It's niche.
I'm saying in Arkansas.
No, that's my niche.
That's my niche.
Niche.
Yeah. Niche sounds like
okay, I didn't say niche. I said niche.
That sounds like my sister's daughter is what that sounds
Actually,
like.
I think I used to say niche, and then somewhere along the way I started saying niche. I don't know.
Well, aren't you sophisticated?
Yes.
All right, so we have one for you, April. Do you need to set up this video?
No, I'll explain it for the listeners afterwards, because I don't say anything. It's all text.
All right, here we go.
Oh. I remember this one.
Let's let it go again because it was so quick. Let's do it
It was
again.
quick.
Oh, that's
okay,
so
so for those who are listening who couldn't see it, there was a trend on TikTok where you like pose as a song album cover, and then when the beat drops, you cut to the actual picture of the album, and you're supposed to like match it. But the name of the song will like continue what your first text says. So the first video is of me, and it says, "When you're a Christian who doesn't like Trump," beat drops, it says it's just kicked out the club. So, anyway, so that video was my first really viral video in like deconstruction Christian world. Before that, I was making mom content. Like, I think my actual first viral video was about postpartum poop. But anyway, this one got like almost 1 million views.
We should play that one.
Yeah.
I know, I have no shame.
No shame.
But anyway, so that one got like 900 some thousand views, and I heard from so many people that were just like me, that were like, oh my gosh, I'm a Christian too, and what the crap is up with all these Trump supporters? And I think that was the first time I realized I am way less alone than I thought I was. So then I started making more Trump content, because that was leading up to the election, and then I started doing just more like Christian evangelical stuff. So
yeah.
And here you are today.
Here I am today. Paul, what was your first one?
So this was, I did this on, so I said the night before the election, I told Ashley
Election Eve.
Going to TikTok. And so on November 3rd, the day of the election, I made this video that then took off.
You're a Christian pastor. Why aren't you voting for Trump? Well, you know, in the Bible, there were these guys called the Sadducees, and this king named Herod. Herod wasn't a Jew, but he pandered to the leaders of the Jewish religion, and they believed by pledging their fealty to him, he would make Israel great again. And so they made that deal. And for doing so, Jesus called them several names, and none of them were good. He called them like a brood of vipers. He called them whitewashed tombs, dead on the inside, but looking good on the outside. He told them that, you know what, your father is the devil. I don't think Jesus appreciated their stance very much and thought it was a good idea to give up your religious morals in exchange for a political strongman to come save you. That's why I'm not voting for Donald Trump, because I don't want to be a whitewashed tomb whose dad is Satan.
Ooh, Paul. I remember when you were pastor with a plant.
Pastor with a plant. Yeah.
I guess I don't remember that.
Oh, that's
pastor with a plant.
Yeah, I started off with
that was early on. You did that for a while. It was around this time last year that you reached out to me, and I was on the Nonpartisan Evangelical podcast sometime around here. And then December of last year was when Beecher and I started doing the Sunday community. Oh my gosh, it's almost been a year. We have not been consistent lately, but we still want to come. We're coming back.
And you mentioned this morning in our prep meeting that I duetted your video, April, of you were the White Jesus Baptist Church pastor?
It was like my first, I think it was my first time pretending to be a guy, and now that's like old news. I do drag all the time now.
Old news.
But I was like, I posted it the Sunday before Election Sunday, so it probably would have been this past Sunday last year. And I was like, here at White Jesus Baptist, we're not going to tell you who to vote for in the upcoming election. As long as the candidate is pro-life, pro-Israel, pro-gun, anti-women, anti-gay, and rhymes with rump.
Absolutely. I remember it well. And I'm so glad you reminded me of that, because I duetted that, and that's how we got connected.
Yeah.
I loved that video. That was so good. But gosh, Jeremy brought this up, that we were a year removed from this. And so that's just had me thinking all day. And I'm going to go to TikTok so people will hear the message. I never realized I would find you guys. Now I'm going to get like sentimental old guy, and find there were all these people in the same space who are feeling the same thing.
Yeah.
It has been truly an incredible journey to, of course, find April a joy, and that pastor from Oklahoma, but all the rest of the people out there that just all of a sudden we weren't alone. And I thought I was, it was me and my wife and 10 others, and to find there were thousands and thousands and thousands, and the people making comments, it's been a delight to be able to join this community and start to seek out what spiritual life looks like now.
And we have all grown substantially in a number of ways in that year, I think, and learned a lot of that together. And we've garnered an amazing community together that has just wrapped their arms around us and made this worth everything. And it's been really, really great. And we're definitely super grateful for it. We started talking early on, like we got connected and we were like, well, we should Zoom, and I just, I still remember like those early conversations about like, what does this look like? Like, how do we do this? And that's still happening, right? Like that is still part of the conversation regularly. And so I love the grassroots, authentic community that is here, and I love you guys. So that's all there is to it.
Yeah, and we do need to tell everyone this is our last episode of the season. Normally we do eight episodes, and then we take a 2-week break, or we're off for 2 weeks and come back the third week. But if we did that this time, we would be coming back the week of Thanksgiving. So just with traveling and everything, we don't want to have a show the night before Thanksgiving. So we're going to actually take a 3-week break. So we will be back on Wednesday, December 1st. So this is the longest break we've taken so far. But maybe we can post some stuff on TikTok. And also we have our evangelical-ish Facebook group, and that conversation will continue over the next few weeks, because Lord knows what things are going to happen, what Q drops are going to drop, who's coming back from the dead. Woo! Can't wait.
This is fun reminiscing. I'm reading the comments in here. Lexi was talking, because right after that Trump video took off and it hit like 400,000 views real fast. And I had no idea what I was doing. And so I did a 5-part series on why abortion is not in the Bible. And I was certain I was going to hell. I'm going straight to hell now. But then it just, people started it resonated with people. This is just amazing to think about all that's happened in this last year.
Yeah. It's been amazing, and it's been a great journey. And the evangelicalish family makes it what it is. So love to all y'all out there. We couldn't do it without you. So
beautiful stuff.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Well, all right, gang. Good show.
Yeah. Well, we will see you guys after Thanksgiving. Have a happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy time around family ones. Give all the COVID safe hugs and kisses that you can. Still got to be careful, but love each other well, and know that you're loved here. So anyway, for April and Paul, I'm Jeremy. You guys have a wonderful night. Love God, love people passionately, no strings attached. We will see you on December 1st.